Today we are making a cake. This cake is Michael's, my partner's, favorite cake. He is a mega chocolate lover. Before we get started, the first thing we gotta do is prep the chocolate. There's a couple different types of chocolate that we're working with in this recipe, but this right here is our bittersweet chocolate wafers. These chocolate wafers are just from Bulk Barn. Bulk Barn is super useful for ingredients in day-to-day baking. Love Bulk Barn. I think the recipe asks us to cut it up into smaller pieces to help it melt better. I don't know if that's real science or just bro science, but I can get down with it. I use the same technique when I wash my clothes. We use laundry strips, detergent strips at my house to help save on plastic waste, reduce plastic waste, and I do the same thing. I rip up the strips and put it in the cartridge in hopes that it will melt or dissolve faster. But back to the cake. These are two ingredients that really changed the chocolate cake game for me. Espresso powder and Dutch processed cocoa. They really bring out great chocolatey flavors in chocolate cake. Here, you can see that we're finally melting those chocolate bits that we cut up earlier. Cover it with a towel and wait. Off camera, I've already prepped the dry ingredients and the wet ingredients. At this stage, we're mixing them together. Depending on the recipe, sometimes they're going to tell you things like don't overmix, fold rather than stir. Really try and pay attention to those instructions because it does affect the consistency of the batter and how it bakes. Here I'm trying to fold, although I might be a little too aggressive. Now let's prep the cake pans. I'm using parchment paper to line the cake pans. Some people just use spray. Some people even use shortening. Personally, I like a combination of shortening for the stickiness and the extra insurance of parchment paper. Here, I learned a great trick way back in the day when I first started baking cakes on how to fold parchment paper and cut it so that it's exactly the size of the circle of your cake pan. I'll have to find the instructions somewhere, but I've done this so many times that I just remember how I'm supposed to fold it. I don't reference anything when I'm doing this. Once you folded it the right way, you put the point in the center and then cut along the edge of the cake pan to get your circle. Wait and see, the magic happens here. Let's open it up. It's a circle that fits the bottom of the pan. Yes. Nice. Here I'm taking, well, earlier I mentioned that I like to use shortening, but I didn't know where my shortening was, or maybe I ran out of it. So instead, I just used a little kitchen brush situation and dipped it in oil. Here I'm just tapping the air bubbles just in case and putting it in the oven. Let's wait for the chocolate cake. It's decorating time, or frosting time. I'm not really sure what my favorite part of the whole cake baking, decorating process is, but something that I like about getting to the frosting stage is that you're almost done. It's also super pressuring because if you're doing something really complex, which we're not doing here, there's a lot of pressure to get it right, especially if people outside of your household are gonna eat this cake. Thankfully, only Mike's eating this cake, so the imperfections kind of go more unnoticed. If you have a super keen eye, you might notice that there are holes in my cake. That can happen. It's not ideal. It can happen in the mixing stage. It can happen because of the quality of ingredients, I feel. But it's not bad for home cake. Look at those straight layers. We got those straight layers by cutting off the dome that happened here. But when I have a really good baking day, it doesn't dome. A little bit more on that in the behind the scenes at the end. Gotta clean up. There are probably more efficient ways for me to clean up than using 2 paper towels. I am, unfortunately, like a super huge paper waster, but it is what it is. Just now you saw cake tops. When I make cake, I usually save them because Mike likes to eat the cake tops. Here we're prepping the ingredients for Swiss meringue buttercream. That's our favorite buttercream because it's so glossy and light and shiny. Here we see me mixing the Swiss meringue buttercream ingredients. It consists of melting sugar and egg over the stove, getting it to a certain temperature, then whipping it, and then slowly adding butter into it, and finally melted chocolate. Voila! We have a glossy Swiss meringue buttercream. It's good enough for chocolate lovers and also not too decadent and thick for people who don't really like super rich decadent chocolate but want the chocolate flavor. I think it's handy in that regard. Now we've got our cake circle. I'm pretty sure it's not called a circle, but I can't remember the name of that thing that the cake is on. But we put it there so it's easy to transport the cake after the fact. Helpful if you have to put it into a device like a cake safe or into a carrying tray. Spin, spin, spin. Frost, frost, frost. Gotta get down low to check if it's level. Plopping on some more buttercream. Glossy, glossy. You can't really see it from this angle, but I didn't do a good job of mixing the buttercream here, so there are chunks of unmixed butter. Not chunks of butter, thankfully, but just like specks that are not chocolate colored. Here's my sad attempt at cleaning up. And finally, the birthday boy gets cake.
It's delicious. Thank you, baby.
Okay, while I was looking for my cake cutter, which is this thing, by the way, by Wilton, I found the cake strips that I was trying to use earlier. These, I actually don't know if cake strips are the right words, but when I first started baking cakes, I didn't use these. These wrap around your cake tins. When I didn't use these, my cake layers would dome a lot, and then I would have to like cut off the dome so that I would have a flat enough layer to stack, like make a tiered cake. Once I discovered that there was such a thing as this, I started using them, and it made a really big difference in whether or not my cake domes. So what you're supposed to do with this is you dip this in water, or you like wet it. Not like soaking wet, but like wet it. And then you put it around your cake tin. And then this whole like water evaporation, temperature control situation happens with the batter in the cake tin. And it will minimize the doming or prevent the doming from happening. Science. There's like different sizes. This is a shorter one. This is also by Wilton. Signature purple. This is a shorter one for like smaller cake tins. They have like extensions in case you need them to be longer, but they also have long ones, by default. This is really well used because it looks kind of burnt. Yup. Probably, I'm assuming this happened because it ran out of water, / it wasn't soaked enough for the amount of time it needed to be in the oven, so this became a little crispy, Back to the cake cutter. So this, once the cake layers have cooled, we're gonna wait 30 minutes for that. You use this to level your cake. Cake leveler. It has these notches, these numbered notches. You probably can't see them. Wow, so professional, no. So there's these numbered notches, and you can like pull on this to bring it up a notch, down a notch to the right level for your cake layer. And then you have your cake layer on a flat surface. Let's say the flat surface is this. You hold your cake layer and you kind of like saw off whatever top you need to level your cake. And then you have a level cake layer that you can stack and make into your cake with. Pretty neat. Less of a worry if you have parchment paper or you've like really greased up your sides. But I just do it just in case. I do not know if I'm visible. Am I visible? I should be. I should have flipped over the screen. Amateur vloggers, tease. I should have put parchment paper under this. Now I'm gonna have a dirty table. So many new mistakes I'm making today. Things I know, but just I'm out of practice with. And then the weight. Oh, okay, yeah, we got it. So at this point, it's very soupy, which means that the mixture is too warm. I had a feeling that the butter itself was too warm. So what we're gonna do to get this to the right temperature is stick this in the fridge so that it cools and we can get closer to a creamy consistency. So this came out of the fridge. We put another butter stick in. And we've moved away from the soupy situation and closer to something that resembles a Swiss meringue. But it's kind of lumpy, so we're going to keep beating it. Some more progress. We're getting real glossy. At this point, I'm going to start melting the chocolate before I really have to manage the temperature of both of these mixtures. My favorite pet. King Kiki. Don't let Brandy let you see. Oh.